Hey guys, it's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing today? So, for today's video, I'll be showing you guys 10 things that you probably didn't know about the Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer. So, let's get right into it. Starting with number 1, on the map Zenith, there is a giant Halo ring underneath it. And you may think it's just some slideshow image or something like that. But it is actually more than that. It is an actual Halo ring, almost like a full-scale Halo ring. And it stretches out for very far. I am speeding this up a lot so that I can cross from one end to the other in a reasonable amount of time for this video. And you can see that this object is actually huge. It is like a full 3D object. And it is just massive, which just goes to show the scale at which things are possible in the Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer engine. And also there's a separate Halo ring here that goes up, and it covers up this part of the Halo ring, so that's how you get the optical illusion that the ring is circular and spinning. But the ring is actually flat, and they're trying to hide that from you so that you can't see it. But you can see here that the Halo ring is there, it's flat, and it's huge, and it's moving. Now, moving on from that, continuing from that flat Halo ring, it is a 3D object still, and it is moving. And if you look long enough, it is actually moving from one end to the other, and there's nothing else behind it here. So you may be thinking that as this Halo ring keeps moving forward, it's going to run out eventually, right? Well, if we keep watching and we speed it up a lot, and I mean speed it up a lot, the Halo ring eventually reaches a certain point where another piece of the Halo ring just attaches to that end piece, and it just keeps moving on. And this is actually a cycle that it will keep doing, so it will never run out. So that is why, if you wait long enough in the game, you don't see the Halo ring run out. However, when it attaches a piece to the end of that Halo ring, you can actually see the seam there. It's not entirely seamless. It kind of glitches out a little bit at times. And if you wait long enough in the map, then you could potentially actually see this without modding or anything. You could actually just see that gap where it attached the ring. Of course, it's really difficult to spot it if you don't know what you're looking for, and you have to wait a very long time for it to actually reach you. Now, as for the other end of the Halo ring, well, you might have guessed it, but once it reaches a certain point, it just disappears and detaches, and it gets moved to the other end of the Halo ring again. And this cycle goes on and on and on forever. So it'll never run out of Halo ring on a map, no matter how long you wait. Alright, for number 3, we have the map Remnant, which is a remake of the map Relic, which is also the only DLC map for MCC. Fun fact there. But anyways, it's a beautiful map, but underneath the map, there is a secret cube just underneath the map. And you can technically see this with theater mode glitches in-game without the mod tools. But it is here, and it is the only map on Halo 2 Anniversary that has a cube underneath. This cube, I don't think it serves any actual purpose. Some maps in Halo Reach did use a cube for certain things, but I think on this map, I don't think it actually served any purpose. It's probably just left over there from development, probably a placeholder or something they forgot to remove. But yeah, so moving on for number 4 on the map Bloodline, which is obviously a remake of the map Coagulation. This map, nothing special underneath or anything like that, but there is a lot of playable space outside of the map if we go above. And actually, the interior of the map is highly detailed, but once we get out here, the top level of the map, it's just one repeating texture out here for the ground. And I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but you could tell that you weren't meant to see out here. And it's yeah, I mean, it's not really anything special out here, but it is a lot of playable space that goes unused. And it's too bad that a lot of these Halo 2 Anniversary maps, they have huge playable spaces out the map, and just barriers preventing you from forging out there. It's a lot of space that could have been used for a lot of cool stuff. Alright, so for number 5, we are going to move on to the map Shrine. And we could see here that, again, a very beautiful map, a lot of beautiful scenery. And you can kind of see this from within the map too, especially if you use a sniper rifle or something. But once you move outside of the map, there are some structures out here that are actually untextured or poorly textured. This broken stone bridge there, and if we go even further out to here, these buildings are completely untextured. Not even just bad textures on them, but just untextured. They're basically blockouts almost. And obviously you weren't meant to see these up close, but you could potentially see them somewhat with a sniper rifle if you zoom in as close as you can. And you can probably see like the lack of detail on those objects. But you know, everything else outside of the map and within the map is very highly detailed. But there are just some, you know, low quality textures or untextured things outside the map. So for number 6, also on the map Shrine, just like the low texture or untextured structures outside the map, there are some birds that you see occasionally fly, you know, over the map. And if we freeze the game and we get up close to the birds, we could see that these birds are not actually, well, really birds technically. They're just like kind of like these shadowy figures that just have a basic animation that looks like birds are flying in the distance. And you know, it's not entirely surprising, but some of the older Halo maps from previous Halo games, even like Halo 2 Classic, they would use like actual birds or actual creatures flying outside. Like they would actually be characters flying, like character tags. But, well, not character tags, creature tags. But for here, they just chose to use those like shadowy birds instead of actual birds. Alright, for number 7 on the map Warlock. Nothing too interesting on this map, but I would say like the one interesting thing is, you know, there is a storm outside the map, and if we fly out to see things that we normally can't see from within the map, even in Forge, you'll notice that these trees or these brush or woods out here, they're not actually trees that are like waving by the wind. They're actually just these 2D images that are kind of like getting like flexed around like jello. So that's it for that map. For number 8, I've actually covered this before in a previous video, but I felt it was important to cover it again in this video because it is a very cool thing. So on the map Lockdown, there are a bunch of these tanks with, you know, flood forms inside, and we don't really get to see them up close. And even in the mod tools, if you fly inside the tanks, you can't really see them because they're really obscure or dark. So in that previous video, I moved these flood forms outside of the tanks and onto the map in full lighting so we could see these flood forms in full detail. These are like never before seen flood forms in any game, and even in the mod tools of Halo 2 Anniversary Multiplayer, you don't really get to see them either. They're not something that you can just drag out of the tank. They're actually like part of the map itself. So you'd have to like extract a map and then like separate and isolate these flood forms and then re-import them as separate objects with all their textures again. And that's what we get here, these flood forms. If you want to see them, you know, not sped up and in better detail, then you could definitely check out my video on these. Just look up like Halo 2 Anniversary Secret Flood Forms. You can find that video. But that's something that you've probably never seen before if you haven't seen that video, because those flood forms are usually pretty well hidden. Alright, number 9 on the map Stonetown, which is a map remake of Zanzibar. Outside the map, you may be able to see this from the edge of the beach, but there are some pelicans that fly really fast out in the distance, and it is actually pretty hard to see them because you'd have to go pretty far into the water to be able to see them, and you'll eventually like hit the barrier and you won't be able to see them too well. And they fly really far out and are really hard to see. But these pelicans, if we freeze them, like first of all, they fly super fast. Like to be able to keep up with them, I had to max out the camera speed in the mod tools. But if we look up close, these are oddly colored pelicans. Like obviously that's because of the compression of the images and the detail, but that's what they actually look like up close. And there are a separate set of pelicans out here too, and we can actually get a better view of these pelicans, and they're actually just the Halo 4 pelicans that you fly around on the mission. I can't remember what that mission was, but it's that one mission in Halo 4 they fly in a pelican, and that's the pelican that you're using, I think. Or it might be the Halo 5 pelican. I can't really tell just from that image. But you know, definitely feel free to chime in on that and just correct me. Anyways, the last thing on this map is all the way out here at the space elevator. You can see it's getting rebuilt, and you can see that from a distance. But if we get up close, we can see what's rebuilding it, which is these pelicans carrying a bunch of steel beams. And it's there's 2 pelicans going up and down, and they're constantly teleporting up and down. And you normally can't really see what they look like this close from within the map. So there you have it. Alright, so that basically wraps up for this video. Those are 10 things that you probably didn't know or notice about the Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer maps. I know there are a couple other Forge canvas maps, but there's really nothing interesting on those. So these are the only interesting maps that have things that you probably didn't notice about them. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and found it to be interesting. If you did, then as always, make sure to leave a like, leave thoughts and comments, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next video.